Welcome to Startup Confidential, what industry insiders will never tell you that you need to know if you're building a consumer brand. With your host, best-selling author of Ramping Your Brand, Dr. James Richardson. Let's do this.
Welcome to episode 137, How I Built This. Okay, no, I'm not mad because Guy Raz's team has never called me to do an episode. I'm fully aware that I am not, just look at my hair, not the cool bootstrapped founder hero that Guy is looking for. And I have not built the latest McKinsey-style consulting firm with airport walkway ads. There's no titan of industry here speaking to you right now, my listeners. But I did do what many of you have done years ago, before the pandemic. What do I mean? I mean the professional services version of this. Dude wipes slinging butt wipe singles on the streets of Chicago to jumpstart their Amazon sales. These lifelong friends pooled college money essentially to get their wipes business going and use that initial cash flow to fund limited growth online. Cliff handing out samples to fellow mountain bikers up and down the West Coast at hundreds of busy trailheads. Vitamin Water distributing samples at Venice Beach from their branded hydrology vans. Let me tell you the long version of the story of how I built PGS to make my case. How I'm no different than those sexy CPG brands. PGS, the consultancy most of you will never hire, but keep supporting. Whenever you recommend my book, Ramping Your Brand, thank you so much. When I started my solopreneur business in the fall of 2017, my early luck was that there was very little competition in thought leadership posting on LinkedIn, let alone posting about the CPG space. That didn't mean that it was easy to get engagement or to scale followers. It was just easier than starting from scratch today on LinkedIn. I posted every day for months with, pathetically minimal response. I posted for months without any engagement, I remember. It was painfully awkward, but it did help me to slowly clarify my voice. I basically posted to an imagined client audience. Wasn't the right one. But anyway, imagined client audience as a sort of monastic act of faith. Faith that the universe would somehow reciprocate. It was something I could control. It all sounds very West Coast, I know now that I say it, but it was what I did. And I started getting a little traction when I posted videos. I have a response. And I was an early video producer. Doing 2-minute, tough love videos. Mostly on huge mistakes that amateurs make when they enter the standard trade show route to retail. From 2017 to 2019, LinkedIn boosted videos a lot on their platform. Some may remember, some may not. And they did this as they were generally experimenting with new thought leadership content forms to increase engagement. So I got my earliest likes and comments from these videos and my lucky timing with, the wandering focus of the LinkedIn algorithm. Now, some of you remember those old vertical videos shot for mobile phone consumption. I can't stand to watch them. I took them down eventually from my site and profile, but thousands of people watched them. I's got the data. Here's the problem. My follower count, it was growing. It didn't really accelerate because of the videos. It didn't accelerate until one post without a video. One post about chasing doors. Spiked to over 50,000 views in a matter of days. It basically just blew up in early September 2018. The photo helped a lot because it was unusual. It was a grid collage of ancient wooden doors from around the world. Quote, if you want to count doors, count these instead. The message was about growing distribution strategically at first until you can prove that you have intrinsic velocity growth, like your thing is a thing. And this was at a time when easy money was causing people to just blow brands out to 8,000, 10,000 doors so they could qualify for the next round, of financing on their massively toxic P&L. Again and again, this was happening. Now, when founders go national in Walmart prematurely, folks, a lot of people who don't know what they're doing think they've made it. Okay. By this point, I was already walking the trade show floors 3 times a year out of literal desperation for business. I charged 1/10 of what I do now, just to be totally transparent. And that was just to get some cash in the door, but also to do market research on my ideal client and eventual positioning. I didn't know where I fit in the universe of early stage businesses as a strategy consultant. But after that doors post, I noticed that people in booths would say hi as I walked by. Not many, but some. Enough to reward my daily LinkedIn post creation habit. I was beginning, to my shock and horror, develop some kind of goodwill. Believe me, people wearing business services badges, they don't get a lot of people calling them over randomly to say hi. And just to be clear, I never used trade shows to cold pitch my services at booths. I'm not good at that, and I knew enough not to go there and position myself as slave. I only explained what I do for founders when they ask by the booth staff. So, they ask me, sure, I'll answer. After my LinkedIn thought stream gained traction in September of 2018, I decided to work my growing LinkedIn following in person at trade shows and events as a thank you prayer to the universe. I've always been a huge believer in founders generating positive word of mouth, which is why I wrote about that topic many times in Ramping Your Brand. So how did I spin up my B2B digital awareness flywheel using trade shows? I'd create huge lists of people who commented on or liked my post. It's a lovely data feature of LinkedIn, is that you can download all that. Then I'd cross-tab that engaged follower list with brands that had booths at the show. That was a pain in the ass. I then mechanically visit all my fans' booths, wave, and if they didn't ignore me, say hi. Thanks for reading my posts. Now, as someone with Asperger's, this was excruciatingly exhausting on a noisy trade show floor, even though 99% of these people were super nice. They are there to sell, so even the assholes are trying to be nice. I quickly learned not to fear messy rejection for my thank yous. Who rejects a thank you? Even from someone they have no idea who they are. I leaned on my acting skills to put on a happy persona. Over time, I met founders again and again. I built up repeat in-person impressions at shows. I was a human billboard. Summary? I took advantage of my lucky timing on LinkedIn, leaned into my biggest social weakness, rapid-fire interactional chit-chat, and then I blew oxygen on the kindling of goodwill I was building on LinkedIn in the form of posts about mistakes to avoid. By the spring of 2019, I now had some intriguing news to share with my LinkedIn fans. I'm writing a book for CPG founders. Hope you can support it. By 2019, my income was not growing at all yet. This was still an entirely faith-based nonprofit focused on a major book launch to attract more established growth brands who could pay 5-figure fees without blinking. Without chasing this initial luck, a wide open LinkedIn posting environment, so lucky, and spreading goodwill for no immediate ROI, my late 2019 book launch might have been a complete and utter flopalooza. I learned that any founder in any industry does not need a large Kardashian following, only a high trust following to boost your perceived value and ignite the fires of consumption of whatever thy selling. So my B2B business relies entirely on a free content funnel, building up goodwill and memorability, so that each year, 8 to 9 figure companies look to me to address their concerns about growth and acceleration. My content, even the book, is a goodwill gesture no different than athletic brewing sampling at a marathon finish line. You send goodwill into a real-life community whose business you want, and wait. Now, most retail-focused entrepreneurs actually do not do this. They start businesses thinking only about selling into retail buyers. They chase POs before offering goodwill to the end consumer who will ultimately build the business, not your buyer. Very few founders have this gift-giving mindset, one that's anchored in making consumers happy. The latter is what humans respond to across cultures. Real people respond to real people who are generous. It's easy for CPG founders to list out the many ways the industry is rigged against them as a small, undercapitalized business. I mean, you could spend all day stewing on this. I, too, could have spent years soaking in career grievance. It achieves nothing and distracts you from deploying the powers any business owner has, regardless of size, and that is generating goodwill to be more memorable. So few people do it. I kid you not, that you automatically stand out when you do. And it costs nothing. I know from experience that dwelling on the barriers to attaining anything keeps your head pointed down. And you're not going to see much luck out there in the universe or hope if you're just staring at your feet like I'm doing right now. That's all I've got on this episode. Remember, as always, be safe out there.
Thanks for listening. Remember, Dr. Richardson has loads of resources for founders at premiumgrowthsolutions.com. And when you're on his site, don't forget to take his founders quiz and see if you're ready to ride the skate ramp of exponential growth.